All right, phase two of Angeline the Baker. A lot of theory and a lot of talking in the last exercise. The one thing that is helpful, and I'll put it in the email too, because it helps me to understand where you are, which is why it would be nice at some point to do a Skype lesson, and there's no pressure on doing that. We can do that whenever and if ever you would like. But one thing that is very helpful for me as a mentor on the instrument is to understand kind of where you are, and the only way I can do that is by hearing you. So you can either record audio only or video, either one, or we do a Skype lesson, one or the other. Because what I can't tell when I'm putting these together, I mean, I enjoy putting them together quite a bit. Just fun. It's fun for me to think that somebody benefits from it and learns and gets the enjoyment out of music that I get out of it. That's very fulfilling to me. But anyway, what does help is for me to have a better understanding for where you are and what you need relative to your music. So anyway, getting into Angeline the Baker. Before we get into that, I do want to go over one other thing on scales. And you should, hopefully you're working on scales. You know, somebody asked one time, a friend of mine, somebody asked a friend of mine when we were playing music and they were really enjoying what we were playing. They asked him, how long have you been playing, to this friend of mine who played bass? And he answered it in a way that I thought was interesting. He said, you know, it's not a matter of how many years you've played, it's a matter of how many hours a week you play. And I thought that was pretty insightful. You know, so the only way to really improve yourself musically is to get some time in and play every week. You know, I probably overdo it because you know, I suppose music is a form. I like to think of it as a healthy addiction for me, but because I play hours every day, because I just enjoy it. I enjoy the feel of it. I enjoy the mathematics of it. I enjoy the intricacy of it. And you know, all of that said, my whole point is this: you should be practicing those scales and arpeggios each day. But I wanted to go over arpeggios before we get into Angeline the Baker. We talked about the other day. I'm sorry. We talked about the other day how a major chord is made up of 3 notes. The first note in the scale. So if I'm going to make a G chord, I'm going to have a G note. I don't have to have that note in there, but the 3 notes that make up the chord are a G note, which is the first note in the scale, the third note, 1, 2, 3, which is a B note, and then the fifth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a D note. So a G major chord is made of 3 notes, the 1, 3, and the 5, which are the golf note, the bravo note, and the delta note. An arpeggio is nothing more than playing those notes independently, as opposed to, there's all 3 notes right there. Actually, there's all 3 notes, and one of them is repeated. I've got a delta note, got a golf note, got a bravo note, and I have another golf note. So there's a G chord. An arpeggio is nothing more than playing those notes independently. And I'm going to tell you what, you know, when you look at some of the most amazing musicians like Tony Rice on the guitar, like Brian Sutton on the guitar, like David Grisman on the mandolin, Chris Thiele, Sierra Hull on the mandolin, all of those people, if they pay their dues in one area, it's by playing arpeggios. Gotta play those arpeggios. Nothing works better to make you understand and learn the fretboard of the mandolin, or guitar for that matter. So I wanted to go over a couple arpeggios real quick. G arpeggio starts with the open G note, 4, open delta, 5, 2nd fret alpha, 5th fret alpha, to 3rd fret echo, open, 4, open, 5, 2, 5, 3. Practice that over and over again. Let's do it in a D. We're going to do a simple one, just a single octave in a delta. Start on the open delta string, 4, open alpha, 5 on alpha. Here's a really important one that's in the closed position in the key of C, or in the C, around the C formation. It's actually pretty easy because I'm only having to move one left finger. So I've got my ring finger on the 5th fret of the golf string, index finger and the middle finger stay planted, index finger on the 2nd fret of the delta string, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the alpha string, and the only finger that's going to move is my ring finger. Is going to move from 5 on the golf to 5 on the delta. So that's 5, 2, 5, 3. So just move back and forth between those 3. You can move just in between all 3 of those, and that's just in the key of G. I'm sorry. So we'll move later on. We'll move into others. I'm at 8 minutes. I wanted to go through Angeline The Baker lead. Didn't want to do 3 videos this morning. You already have 3. That may keep you busy for a month or 2. Nice thing about Angeline The Baker on the left hand, I'm just going to use these 2 fingers for the whole lead. Pretty straightforward. And I am going to use pretty much all the notes are going to be on the G string and the D string, except for one note in the B part is going to be that open A string. And the nice thing about playing in the key of D, these 2 strings are part of the arpeggio. The D note and the A note are part of the arpeggio, so I can actually drone those. I can play a straight rhythm, or I can drone. And the drone makes it sound very mountainy. So first off, let me just go through the melody. The A part starts with index finger on 2, goes to 4 with the middle, and then to open delta. That's the first phrase. Next phrase, it's the same notes, but it's a little bit different timing, so listen to it. And you can do this as a hammer-on. See how I'm not picking that second note? Or you can pick it. typically pick it because I do like the sound of hammer-ons. So those two phrases together. Again. Again. Alright, that's the first two phrases. Next phrase. It's almost the same, but it comes back and it picks up. It comes back and picks up that 2 to 4 on the G string. Okay, those three phrases together. Again. Okay, next phrase. That's 2 to 4 on G, to open delta, to 2 on delta, to 4 on delta, to back to 2, to open delta. You hear the timing. Again. These are all downstrokes. Alright, let's put all that together. Once more, again. Alright, last phrase. Starts on open delta, to 2 to 4, back to 2, to open, to 4 on golf, to 2 on golf. Okay. Let's do the whole thing. That's the whole A part, and it's going to repeat that. A, A, B, B. Remember that. And I'm already up at 13 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to have to do a third video to get the B part of Angeline The Baker.